They developed it during the American colonial period.
I'm not. I'm not saying that.
Filipino time originated in the American colonial period. Is that what you're saying? Brought up into branches, and that is us. Yeah, it's not really
But
a.
at the same time, we also have.
We practiced it, yeah,
Yeah, because
but
we
it
still.
is the mainly their fault. It,
We are biased. We have a biased conclusion.
what's up, mga Juans? What's up? So, eh. So, have you guys ever wondered like why we Filipinos have this concept of time called Filipino time? Like, is it an acquired trait or are we the ones that started it? What really is its origin? What is it? So, in this episode titled Si Juan Bang Problema, the origin of Filipino time, we will be discussing Filipino time and its origin, of course, given from the title. So, we have our main host right here, Ronald John Bitanya.
Hello, everyone.
And I am your co-host, Hilarian Indino, and this is the other co-host, Miss Janine Cristel Hinaut. So, and this is Ask Juans. So, let's turn over the magical mic to our main host, Mr. Ronald.
Alright, mga Hawans, so let's dive right in. But before anything else, what really is Filipino time? What's its definition? What exactly does it mean? Can you care to explain, Miss Hillary?
So, for the viewers wondering, watching, what is Filipino time? Filipino time is a concept it is defined as the concept of like Filipinos arriving late to like events or important gatherings, like Filipino time. Yeah, meetings. It basically describes that behavior of the Filipinos, like arriving very late or like yes, yeah, being tardy. So that's what Filipino time is, everyone. And today we're going to be diving into the origins of that concept. So yes.
So, now that we know the meaning of Filipino time, let me ask you guys a question and you guys a question. What's the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear the term Filipino time? Does it frustrate you? Are you guilty of, following the concept of Filipino time, or are you the ones who actually arrive early in events? What about you?
I I have very like strong opinions on this. So, um, when I think about Filipino time, it's very frustrating. Guys, like when people like you make an appointment, right? Like a gathering between like your friends or your colleagues, or and then they arrive very late, like an hour after what you said like was the set time for your like meeting. And like in my experience, that's like very frustrating for me because time is precious, time is gold, and like the hour that we basically wasted, like it's so unfortunate that we had to like wait for an hour for them to arrive when we could have used that time to do something or discuss something. And you know like so frustrating.
So for me, the thought of Filipino time really frustrates me a lot because I have experienced a lot of times where my colleagues or my classmates would arrive an hour later to the scheduled time. For examples, is like when we have to do our project and the time should be 7 a.m. That's just an example, right? And they would arrive at 9, and oh my god, that's they waste 2 hours. Like we could have done something with those hours, and they just wasted it. And also, it's really frustrating to my part since Of course, I also have my personal life, and um, I have to balance my academic life and my social life, and I can't do that because people would waste my time and like that. And actually, I'm also guilty with the Filipino time. That's because yeah, yes, I am also guilty because it I do that out of pity because since I have experienced it a lot of times, I was like, why don't I also do that? Why don't I don't yeah, yeah, I why would I go I why would I arrive early when they would be late anyway? So I do that out of spite.
Well, me myself is guilty of following the concept of Filipino time because there are some circumstances that we can't avoid being late. But it also frustrates me, But when my other colleagues are the one who is flexible with their time, they're the ones who being late. But I think I'll just understand them and be empathetic about it because why am I going to be angry at them if me myself is guilty of following the concept of Filipino time? That's why we should just agree that there are some circumstances that we can't avoid that we're being late. For example, the traffic here in Cagayan de Oro is just the worst, and they are we don't really know when traffic's going to come up, and there are times that even when it's still early in the morning, there's already a traffic, and that's why we need to at least an hour early so that we could avoid traffic if we could. That is if there's no traffic, but if there is, then there's comes Filipino time. But there's of course that we should still understand the people that is late. So
My comments on that is that traffic is not a valid reason because we should take responsibility, and since we all know that traffic doesn't exist, so um, it does exist. It does exist. So we should add 1 hour early when we go to that specific place because since we can't really avoid traffic and all, but we can avoid being late by being an hour early. So
Responsible.
yes,
Yeah.
because we can't really waste other people's time. We can't. Yeah, it's very disrespectful, especially when it is done to you. So we should think what would that person feel.
Yeah. Like you feel disrespected, but you also like disrespect other people's time. Very hypocritical. You know. Like you complain, but you're also the one who doing it. That's okay. So that's not okay. So Mr. Ronald.
I think yes, that is actually I agree with that. We disrespect other people's time, but also disrespect what we disrespect their time, and we also disrespect ours. It's like having a taste of our own medicine. So I think we should delve more right now into the origin of Filipino time. So what's your what about that?
So like when we talk about the origin, there's something I read somewhere on the internet, like during the Spanish colonial period, you know, there was kind of this like power dynamic between the Filipinos and the colonizers, which are the Spaniards. So there would be instances where the Spaniards would arrive late towards to their like meeting or event to show their power over the Filipinos. So that was kind of like a whole power dynamic thing, like arriving late to be the center of attention, So they would gather like the attention of the people, so they feel special. So that was like something I read, and I think, yeah, then also Filipinos then started to acquire it, like they mimicked it out of spite, also as a for like as a rebellion to the Spaniards and the colonizers, because like as what we said earlier, taste of their own medicine. So yeah, that's I really think that, from the question earlier, is Filipino time an acquired trait, or are we the ones that started it? I really think that, like, it's acquired and then further developed by the future generations. You know, you know.
It got acquired from the Spaniards
Yeah, it's
during
been
the
acquired by
colonization.
the Spaniards during colonization, and then it became like developed and then normalized.
Yeah.
Became ours.
Okay.
So, okay, I do agree with her, with your, with your information, because I also have read that. Like, there are a lot of articles talking about Filipino time originated from the Spanish um, era. But there is a flaw to that information, because you forgot to include factors that that you include factors like the American colonization era, because in that era, Filipinos were introduced of the business practices, which is to arrive early, and their emphasis, I mean, the Americans' emphasis on efficiency and schedules. And I think that belief, or I mean, that norm of theirs were um, it it kind of clashes with the Filipinos' existing norms, which is that, as she said, during the Spanish colonial era, Filipinos would arrive late out of spite. So, and the Americans were not really used to it, since they value time. And with that clash, I believe it is where the concept of Filipino time truly took place. Because even though that um, the Spanish era have the influence, I mean, that is where it started, I guess. The concept of Filipino time was made by the Americans. You could actually read that from many articles as well. So, yeah.
So, like what you said, they developed it during the American colonial period.
I'm not I'm not saying that it was developed during the American period. I am saying that the concept of the Filipino time was then made. I'm not saying that the Filipino time was I don't know, like, developed, since, as you like I said and you said, that it was it was influenced by the Spanish colonizers, because we Filipinos arrived late out of spite. Yeah, it's I guess it's our nature to do things out of spite.
We like to spite people. Is that what you're saying? Yeah, I agree. I agree. I like to spite people too. But so what I'm getting from what you said is you do agree that Filipino time is acquired, because you said that the Filipinos learned it from the Americans. So you are proving my point that Filipino time is acquired, like historically acquired. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I agree. But
Okay.
but the question was where it originated, and my point was that I'm sorry for my but my point is that the concept of Filipino time was made in And during the American era, I'm not saying that it's not acquired, since it was obviously acquired by the Spanish era. That is why the norm of the Americans, which is the value of time, clashed with the norm of the Filipinos, which is to arrive late, since they got that from the Spanish colonizers.
You're proving my point.
Yeah, I'm proving your point, but I'm also, but I'm not exactly agreeing that that the concept of Filipino time took place in the Spanish era. I'm just agreeing to the point that it is acquired. You don't get it?
So, like, if we do consider like every era of the Filipinos, let's talk about the pre-colonial era. Do you have anything to say about that? Like, do you? Because I really do agree that the Filipino time was acquired from the colonizers. Like it's learned, and then it became a norm, and then as you said, the Americans came and they taught us values of time, so we kind of like adapted also the the their concept of time, like how much they value their time. So there's kind of like a mix between beliefs. Is that what you're saying? Like Filipino time, some people during the American colonial period exercised or engaged, or like they're do Filipino time, and then some people don't. But the point is, it is acquired, right? Yeah, yeah. But you're saying that it didn't origin in the Spanish colonial period, and Filipino time origined in the American colonial period. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that is what I'm saying, because the term Filipino time did not originated in the Spanish era. Filipino time was non-existent during the Spanish era. So, my point is the concept of Filipino time took place during the American era, because the Americans were the ones who named our tardiness, or the our habit to arrive late, as the Filipino time. So that's what I'm saying. Although that behavior was acquired during the Spanish era.
So you do agree that it was acquired in the Spanish era. All right, all right, all right. So
So,
yeah.
so what I understand from their conversation is that Shanine is trying to say that the word or the term Filipino time was like created during the American colonization. Like the word itself, Filipino time, like they're the one who created it because of the Filipinos being late. And the actual and the thing that was acquired from the Spaniards, as Hilary said, was the thing about being late. Is that right? The thing that about arriving late, because they acquired it because of the Spaniards, that is arriving late, so to show their superiority. And actually also did some research, and that there is also it also said that uh, the concept of Filipino time was actually to show discrimination during the Spanish colonization era, to discriminate the Indios back at the time. They called them Indios, the Filipinos, to discriminate them. That is to let the Spaniards sit early during events, and they make the Filipinos or Indios to arrive late, so that they'll be standing instead of sitting in the seats together with the Spaniards. So we all agree that it's actually acquired, and that it's very complex in the origin of Filipino time. It's actually very complex as it is influenced by many era, in the Spanish era, and also the American era, where the term Filipino time was created. So as we all know the origin of Filipino time, I think we need to change its nature as
I want to add
Okay, okay.
To further solidify this point, being a Filipino time being an acquired trait, there was this research from 2019 where like it was discussing about the Filipino time also. So there was this kind of historical like discussion, and there it said that there was this like the books of Jose Rizal, the ones he wrote, the No Limitangere and the El Filibusterismo. There he made some mentions there about the unpunctuality of the Spaniards. So that kind of like shows that Filipinos really did learn being not punctual from the Spaniards, because like that was the research, and it was like there was a lot of references, and so I noticed that detail. So I was like, yeah, it really is an acquired trait, from the Spaniards, because the Filipinos were colonized, and the Spaniards were tardy. Not tardy, like they were not punctual. So that was, I guess, where the Filipinos, from what I said earlier, they mimicked that kind of unpunctual behavior, and then they just brought it with them as their culture. So, yeah.
So I actually didn't know that one. So I think I should really read books more. It's actually just there, but I didn't know that it was there. So as we as we already know, its cultural significance. Whether so maybe it's time to change the narrative of Filipino time, because it affects a lot of us, especially with uh it has impacts on our personal relationships uh and professional relationships, especially on school and other things like job. If we arrive late in meetings, and that could actually of course that is disrespectful. So I think we should start changing that, and we should try to learn how to slowly learn to stop following the concept of Filipino time, although it is not easy, because it is already our culture to arrive late. But since there are still many factors as to why we arrive late, we need to slowly learn about that and empathize. So what? Okay.
Like Filipino time has this, like what you said earlier, the impact between like personal and professional relationships, especially in the work field. Like it's when like Filipino time really is a problem when you think about it, because like a lot of people, it's become like a norm or a joke. Well, not entirely a joke, but it's been mentioned a lot, and like a lot of people practice it. So, Filipino time, uh, it can lead to some relationships like to be strained, the strained relationships. Like, for example, what you said earlier, that you would feel angry at your group mates whenever you have this meeting that you agreed to be in at the time, like 9 a.m., and then they arrive an hour or 30 minutes late. And like, is that what's like your whole feelings about that? What's your what do you feel?
Of course, I feel really frustrated and angry, and at the same time, I kind of like just understand them because I feel what they feel, since I also feel lazy some days. That's why I arrive late, and at the same time, it's also not really valid, since laziness is is not good. And yeah, overall, I actually feel frustrated whenever that happens, when someone arrives late. But whenever I do that, there's always someone later than me, so that's okay. No, that's not okay. I'm just joking. That's not okay.
So what you're saying is like, if other people are late, it's not okay. But if it's me, it's fine. It's fine because it's me. Like, what are you again? You're the like student circle president of arts collective,
No,
right?
no, no.
Right, and then like,
No,
so then when
I have let me speak. Let me speak. Actually, whenever for example, like, since I am a student circle president, I actually arrive on time, and I actually arrive on time during meetings. Yeah, because like I also respect the time of my um people who have higher position than me, like for example the SSGC. Like, of course it would be really embarrassing if I would arrive late, especially when the meeting is face to face and I would arrive late, like, oh my god. So I'm really conscious of that. So whenever there's a meeting of the officers, I would do my best to arrive on time. But whenever, for example, like classmates and such, there are times that I would be really late, since factors like my illness would hinder me from arriving late. And also I live far away from school, so that also do that. But it's not valid, since I can just yeah, get ready really early and do stuff that I have to do so that I could arrive late. But then, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You want to arrive late? That's what
I'm
you're
sorry.
striving for?
I'm sorry. Latang moment. I'm sorry for the misconstructed sentence. But yeah, that excuses is not really valid, and I admit that. But I can't, I mean, I can avoid that, but at the same time I can't. I don't know why.
What is it? Is it a personal choice or
No, it's not, since my body randomly goes weak because I have low potassium.
okay?
So it just randomly loses energy, and I can't do anything at all.
So, yeah, I can't even like complain or rebut that because I'm also late for our meetings in this period. And Sir Lito, if you're watching this, I'm so sorry. I don't mean it. I swear, because like there would be some unprecedented like circumstances where like our car sometimes would break down and it won't turn on, and I'm like, I would be expecting that by the time I'm ready would be ready to go. So it's like and then when we do like plan to go, like when we're ready to go now, the car sometimes would just won't start. And there was just this one time where like that happened, and we had this meeting, an important meeting, like for the publication, because I'm proud of the publication. And like, well, I was so ready to go. Like I was 30 minutes already. Like I I always strive to like, especially during meetings, I always strive to go early because maybe there would be some agendas we still need to go over, and I would discuss it with like my other acquaintance in the publication. So I always try to do that. But during that specific time, it was just so unfortunate because we just didn't expect the car to not start because it's pretty old. It's been there since like 2019, and we're really broke, so we can't buy another car. So that's kind of something. That's another factor like we need to consider. So like with this, I know I said earlier that it's frustrating for me when other people come late. So I feel very like I feel like a hypocrite saying this right now, but we really need to be considerate of other people's circumstances, especially like their state, or you know, you know, like for me, I really can say that there would be some unexpected moments where we just don't expect something to happen, and then you just like become late for something very important. So I can really say that I'm very guilty of that, and I'm so sorry, Sir Lito. I'm so sorry. I apologize.
So going back to the impact of Filipino time, so Filipino time does reinforces negative stereotypes to Filipinos, of course, because we were then seen as both unprofessional and unreliable, and it can affect how foreign people view us, because if we are known as unreliable and unprofessional, then the trust would be broken. And yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I can testify. I've had this like friends, like foreign friends, like a few of my cousins also, like they they've been here in the Philippines, so they visit here for like the holidays, and there would be some instances where like they express their frustration, especially because I'm pretty sure they were like shocked to say the least when like the Filipino counterparts of our family were late to arrive in a family gathering, and they would complain like, "Oh my gosh, they're late. What is with this? Are they always like this? Like, are Filipinos like this?" They would often question like the people around them like that, especially in a family. So that really does like say a lot about how that really affects like the Filipinos, how do you say this, reputation. And like as we said earlier, there's gonna be some doubts in like our, like what do you say, what you said again? They would be doubting our capabilities to be
Trust
early.
would be broken.
Yeah, trust would be broken. So that's also another factor that impacts our like relationships, not only between our peers as Filipinos, but also to like our peers who are foreign and are not familiar with the concept, with our concept of Filipino time. So yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So I guess that although Filipino time is actually our culture, as you said earlier, that uh, the concept of Filipino time is staining our reputation, especially to foreign people, because of our uh, the flexibility of our time, or us being late, and that it is very disrespectful. And although it is culture, it came from our culture, and that it is an acquired trait from the Spaniard. I think we should start to slowly change this. I think it's for the good that we start changing. It will be better for us, especially to those who have uh what we call this, those professional people. Let's stop being late. Because it will it is bad for our reputation. uh yes, I think we already covered the origin of Filipino time, and it's the downside of this. And uh I think that is all for today. Tonight
Tonight.
tonight is that all right?
What's up for today? Tonight.
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 It's tonight.
Yes.
What time is it?
I think
It's 9:30 p.m.
yes, it's already very late, and I
We still
think
have
we
to have dinner.
we
Because he already
already
had dinner.
yes
I mean, he already had dinner because he went to a birthday party.
yeah, yeah, yes.
We weren't included. We're very hungry and we're feeling this.
Yeah, so I
Okay,
think
so during the birthday party, were you late or were you?
no, I was very early because of
Wow.
course is
But
it
during,
involves food,
but we scheduled 7 p.m. So why
Yeah,
weren't you?
that is
That's
because
very Filipino.
yes, of course.
That's
But
very
it's because of traffic, I can't, and it's
Yeah.
raining. I can't, it's environmental bias. I cannot control it.
It's the environmental factor.
Yes,
It's
there
phenomenal. I mean,
there are
wow.
many factors as to why people are
Meteorological
late.
factor, scientific factor.
I am
Was
I
it
agree.
also very traffic? Really, very traffic.
Well, not really, because even though if it's traffic, I sometimes speed up a little bit
The
to avoid to avoid
police, do you hear
to
that?
avoid traffic. So but when I was near in the intersection, the light was red, so I can't do nothing about that because I do not beat a red light. I am a good
But you
person.
still speak. They have you have the face and you have the name. If ever you see this speeding,
No, I
you
was not
know.
speeding. But it's still a fast. I don't exceed 60 kilometers per hour because that's like very fast already for me. But yeah, that I think that's fast. Yes. So I think they're very hungry. So I think we should really finish it now. So
Very angry.
so what?
Yeah, so that's about it. Like
Yes.
we now know the origin of Filipino time, and we can conclude now that Filipino time is acquired. Acquired. You're wrong. You're so wrong.
I did not oppose you.
Okay, so like there really are some factors we considered, but mainly Filipino time really is acquired. It
Yes.
came from the pre-colonial, and I'm not pre-colonial. It's the Spanish colonial period. It really started there because of the Spaniards being late. So she was late too.
I was not late.
You were in traffic.
No,
you were
I
you were
arrived
traffic.
late. We set the time on 7 p.m. I arrived at 6:10 p.m. I
No,
was early.
you.
I was early.
Okay, let's end this now. If we keep going, we're gonna go for an hour.
Yes.
So
So even though Filipino time does have a lot of negative impact, so
yeah,
can you name at least one positive impact of Filipino time? Can you?
um
Can you?
Filipino time? I guess like does it have a positive impact? I mean,
I
when
guess it has.
if you want to be if you want to feel
Because
like
if
a
you
main
look-
character.
No, if you look at it in a positive side, if you don't arrive late on the scheduled time, like for example, like a meeting or something, you can just you can use that time to bond with your family. What are you saying? I'm just making things
Mhm.
that have.
The positive impact of
Yeah,
Filipino
I'm just
time.
thinking like
We were supposed to end this already.
yeah,
Yeah.
but we haven't even said
Also,
any positive.
you know, if you want to feel like a main character, if you want to feel like a main
Oh, that's a
character,
positive.
that's like, you know, the big grand entrance because you're late and people will look at you and they will see you and they're like, and you would think that their thoughts are like, whoa, she's here, whoa, the main character is here, but they're like, yeah,
They're like,
but
oh
they're
my
like,
God,
but
why
in
are you so
reality,
late?
yeah, they're like, oh my gosh, that's
Oh my gosh.
that's so disrespectful. Why are you late? And you're not even going to like a birthday party or something. It's actually a corporate meeting.
Oh my God. That's worse.
It's a corporate meeting and you just busted the door open. You're like that, and then the boss, you're fired. You're fired. So, I think yeah, very main character. Yeah, yes, yes, yes. So, it really there are more negative impacts of Philippine time than positive because like
it's mostly negative.
yeah, it's mostly negative because you
And
know
we should really get rid of it since its impacts are mostly negative and positive impacts are basically
non-existent. Yeah.
So we should
Stop it! Stop it! Erase it
Face
from
out.
history. Oh yeah, face out, face out. Be punctual. Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, be
Da,
punctual.
da. Be punctual. Be punctual.
Be punctual.
Hmm, you are only punctual when there's food. Yeah. Yeah.
Because when you arrive late and there's food, then when you arrive,
Yeah. No food already.
you won't be able to eat.
arrive late.
So you can have all the food for yourself.
Yeah.
So like I think we really need to end this now.
Yeah.
We've gone to so many side quests.
Yes.
Yes. So that's it, everyone. I I hope that we hope that you learned a lot from us. That you now have the enlightenment of the origin of Filipino time. So si Juan is not the problem. Juan is not the problem. So yeah. So we have now decoded that Juan is not a problem. We are not the problem, you guys. It's okay. We are not the problem. So no gaslighting. So, but still, it's like we're a little bit of the problem, but we're not the problem. You know what I'm saying. You know, yeah, we acquired it, so it's still their fault. So
It's our fault because
We-
still
I mean, if you think about it, like if they are the root of the problem and it just sprout up into
Yes.
branches, and that is us.
our fault.
Yeah, it's not really our.
But at the same time, we also have
We
fault.
practiced it,
Yeah,
yeah,
because
but
we
it
still
is
practice
the
it.
mainly their fault.
Yes,
It came from them. So
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
we have now come to a conclusion that we are not a problem.
We are biased. We have a biased conclusion.
No, that's not biased. We've already discussed a lot of references and articles and also a study. So, yes, don't listen to her, guys.
Okay,
This is
don't
not
listen to
biased.
me, don't
This is
listen
not.
to
She's
me.
non-existent. Go away.
Yes, I'm a
So-
ghost.
So that's about it. So we really hope that you have grasped everything, every single
Yes,
information that we
yes.
spout. Da 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 da.
I hope you understand
I
our
hope you understand. So
argument.
thank you so much for watching. This is Ask Juans.
Yes.
Make sure to like and subscribe and turn on the post notifications. Bye, guys. Goodbye.
Okay.
Bye.
Goodbye.
And
Goodbye.
again, this is
Ask Juans.
Bye. Thank you very much.
Boom.